The search for an efficient means of locomotion over remote off-road services has led to the development of a completely new kind of vehicle with no axles, no wheels, no tracks. Instead, driving power is transmitted by weight-bearing rollers supported on bags of low-pressure air. The super-wide flexible airbags conform gently to the terrain over which they travel and are found to be ecologically non-destructive. Steering is accomplished by an articulating frame. Earlier models of the Bechtel Rolligon have been tested successfully on summer tundra, swamp, and sand. The new model RD85 was assigned the harshest transportation challenge of all. The midwinter landscape of Arctic Alaska, a vast mire of deep, dry snow, nearly uninhabited, untraversable. Its unsubstantial plains defy the persistent dream of year-round overland travel across the northern wilderness.
Leaving Fairbanks, Alaska, February 21st, 1972, minus 35 degrees. We have begun an adventure which some local skeptics, respectful of the northern winter, called impossible. Today we set out to prove the effectiveness of an experimental all-weather construction vehicle under the most rugged wintertime conditions. If we succeed, it may never again be said of this rich but perilous frontier that it is no place for man. Our plan is to drive 3 of the new model RD85s, fully loaded, in a self-sustained convoy from the center of Alaska to the Arctic Ocean, without the aid of snow removal equipment. Our route will extend northward from Fairbanks, over the Brooks Range, 686 miles to Prudhoe Bay. For the first 100 miles out of Fairbanks, we took advantage of a cleared government road for sustained maximum speed testing, around 25 miles per hour. No difficulties experienced. The 3 vehicles are loaded with an average weight in excess of 10 tons each. One unit carries a self-contained camper, which will be home for the 9 of us during the journey. The other 2 carry fuel, supplies, and equipment. All 3 as yet are untested. One vehicle had only 78 miles on the odometer as we left Fairbanks. This afternoon, we drove on the ice of the Yukon River for about 30 miles, an adventure we would not like to go through again. Even with increased vigilance, there was the ever-present possibility of a disastrous break. Loaded as they are, the Rolligons would have sunk rapidly to the bottom. Time and again, we felt the ice begin to give way and the airbags pull themselves to a stronger footing. Still, it was the only practical route to Stevens Village, an Eskimo settlement near which we are camped. Log 176 miles in 12 hours. We've a long way to go. February 22nd. Having completed the first leg of our trip, we struck out across country for Bettles on the John River. For the first time, we encountered deep snow and high banks. Our progress slowed. The area was heavily wooded, very little wind to harden the surface, which was soft and powdery. Corn snow, it's called, making it extremely difficult to maintain traction. For most of this first day out from Stevens Village, We cut and lay logs to provide a footing over the steeper banks. One was 40 feet high. We were cold and sobered by the experience. February 23rd. Temperature minus 10 degrees. Wind 25 knots, bringing chill factor to minus 65. Progress has been arduous and hard won. We are following the route of an overland trail which was the beginning of a snow road to the north slope. The road has not been used for more than 2 years. The main asset it provides is a cleared passage through the forests of spruce. Without constant snow removal, it is impassable for conventional vehicles. Even our snowmobiles are practically useless. Driving in this stuff is a question of attitude. One must be stubborn, positive. We find ourselves from time to time on snow 5 to 7 feet deep and grades that run to 10% or more. Where the snow runs particularly deep, we have been able to gain the necessary traction by linking the vehicles with a push bar. In this manner, 2 of them may work as a unit. Today we took on fresh water at the Dahl River near the Arctic Circle. February 26th. The entire day was spent struggling to climb a long, steep incline, 10 to 12 degrees, in deep, powdery snow. We had to lay 3-inch planks under the first rollers of the lead vehicle, drive over them, then move the heavy planks another 20 feet up the hill, over and over. It was painful, back-breaking work. We'd started up the hill at 5 a.m. Around 7 o'clock this evening, we reached the top for a gain of 3.5 miles. February 27th, Sunday, minus 20 degrees. This was a fairly good day. We made 30 miles after only 3.5 miles yesterday and 5 the day before. The temperature rose to the plus side, causing some melting of the surface and making it somewhat treacherous. Our main link with the outside has been radio contact with a small reconnaissance plane. According to the pilot, we can expect to find harder packed snow beyond Bettles.
Okay, well, the progress we're making right now, Halfie might be there in about an hour then, over.
Looking at the footprint of the vehicle ahead, it is hard to believe that its gross weight is somewhere near 40,000 pounds. Yet a man jumping off the bed will sink to his chest. March 2nd, Bettles, Alaska. Log 104 miles on this leg in 10 days. Average daily mileage from Fairbanks, 31. We plan to spend about 3 days here for inspection and maintenance of the vehicles. We have traveled nearly halfway to our destination with only minor mechanical problems experienced thus far. March 6th, minus 20 degrees, clear. Our route during the next leg will follow the John River upstream beyond the tree line to Anak-Tuvik Pass. We have been running on lighter snow of about 2 to 3 foot depth, and our mileage is picking up. Bag punctures caused by jagged rocks, caribou horns, and sharp sticks as hard as spears were repaired en route. Today, the pilot brought a store of fresh provisions. From now on, we will have less contact with the scout plane because of dangerous flying conditions ahead. March 8th, climbing the Brooks Range. High winds brought the chill factor to around minus 70 degrees. With the increase in altitude, the landscape and snow conditions have changed quite a bit. Vegetation has become sparse, the land barren and windblown, a washboard plain. Driving on the John River hour after hour, we would occasionally splash through the thin top layer of an overflow, causing ice to build up on the drive rollers. Once it required the combined traction of all 3 vehicles to pull out of a deep spring. Log, 55 miles from Bettles in 2 days. March 10th, camped in the Anak-Tuvik Pass. Tonight, the crew is unusually quiet, due partly to exhaustion, partly to the overwhelming remoteness of the place. March 11th. We've begun the 4th and final leg of our journey, following the Anak-Tuvik River down the north slope to the oil fields to Prudhoe Bay. We saw hardly any vegetation, only snow blending in the sky, with no horizon to mark one from the other. Whiteouts have become frequent, making it necessary to navigate by compass heading alone. The phenomenon causes loss of equilibrium and sense of foreboding, as though expecting at any moment to drive off the edge of a ravine. challenge of this expedition is no longer a mechanical one. The machines have proved themselves. March 12th, temperature minus 40 degrees. This morning we met a geophysical expedition traveling on tracked vehicles. They'd been plodding along at a noisy, bone-rattling 2 miles per hour. After that, at 15 miles per hour on our airbags, we were speeding across the snow. It improved the general mood considerably. March 14th, the first oil derrick was spotted near Achillic Wells early in the day. No tree was ever prettier. From there, it was an easy run to Dead Horse on the Prudhoe Bay, snow flying all the way. Final entry. Arrived Prudhoe, 17 days from Fairbanks. No major breakdowns or equipment failure along entire route. Surviving nearly 700 miles of extreme Arctic conditions, the Bechtel Rolligon RD-85 has demonstrated its wintertime capability for use in transportation and construction in remote polar regions. There is much to be done, much to preserve.